The WNBA All-Star Draft was fun between Caitlin Clark and Napheesa Collier, the team captains, picking the players, picking the rosters. But the most interesting aspect was the coach swap, because Clark traded Cheryl Reeve, who was the coach of her team, or was to be the coach of her team, to Collier for Sandy Brondello, the coach of the New York Liberty.
The camera hadn't even finished its slow glide across the neon-lit ESPN set when Caitlin Clark leaned into the microphone and detonated the night. "I don't know if this is in the rules. Honestly, I don't care," she said, her Iowa drawl wrapped around a live television hand grenade. In one unblinking breath, the most scrutinized rookie in WNBA history did what no pro baller, male or female, had ever tried. She traded away her own all-star coach. Seconds later, Cheryl Reeve, four-time champion and freshly crowned Olympic skipper, was reassigned to the opposing bench, while Liberty mastermind Sandy Brondello stepped into Team Clark's huddle grinning like she just hit the coaching Powerball. Inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse, a sellout crowd went from roar to stunned hush to roar again.
Now as Gangster Clark heard Cheryl crusted blueberry muffin ass Reeve being salty in that press conference, throwing shade at the Fever, and said, "Nope, get her punk ass up out of here. She ain't about to coach my team for the All-Star game, and that's why I call her Gangster Clark, because whatever Gangster Clark wants, Gangster Clark gets."
And a new power era began before the production truck could cut to commercial. Clark's half-shrug delivery, Malika Andrews' wide-eyed shock, and a nationwide gasp that could almost be heard over the floor mics all broadcast the same message. Polite, deferential superstardom is extinct. From that moment forward, women's basketball would orbit around players who write their own scripts, even if it means shredding a 27-year-old rulebook on live TV. Stick around, because the coach trade is only the spark. What follows is a chain reaction involving old grudges, viral memes, CBA leverage, and the most combustible All-Star game the league has ever scheduled for July 19th, 2025.
With you here, Caitlin, you said you might be aggressive on the trade market once this opened up. Is there any player that you're looking to get to? And remember, it has to be apples to apples trade here. Starter for starter, reserve for reserve. The good news is you can't go wrong with this type of talent. Anyone looking to make a deal here?
To be completely honest, I love my team. I think they're great. I don't have any intentions of really trading any of them. I don't know if this is in the rules. I don't really care. But I think we've already discussed we are going to trade coaches. He's going to take her coach, Sandy Brondello.
Gainbridge Fieldhouse had buzzed for hours before tip. LED wristbands flashed fever red, merch tables emptied in minutes, and upper bowl fans chanted "Indy, Indy" like it was the NBA Finals. When officials confirmed Caitlin Clark and Napheesa Collier as the top vote-getters and draft captains, 20,000 throats detonated in a single bone-rattling cheer. The league's youngest franchise cornerstone was about to run an all-star draft inside her own arena, and even neutral onlookers could sense something historic brewing.
Caitlin Clark just made the funniest all-star selections ever. She just picked her friends. She made sure she picked no ops, as people like to call them. She made sure there were no ops on her team. If she's played with a player before, like Sonia Citron, she picked her. Gabby Williams, she picked nobody that's tweeted a negative thing about her. She's picked nobody that has said a negative thing about her in the media. She picked none of her rivals.
Clark opened the proceedings with a loyalty laser. Pick number 1, Aaliyah Boston, her college nemesis turned Fever co-star, the post anchor who'd helped drag Indiana from 1-8 misery to mid-season playoff contention. Collier volleyed by claiming two-time MVP Breanna Stewart, and suddenly the broadcast felt less like an exhibition and more like a high-stakes chess match. Clark's next moves were equally ruthless. Sabrina Ionescu at number 3, three-time MVP Aja Wilson at number 5, and Satu Sabali at number 7.
Brondello's like, "Oh yeah, this is good. This is good. this is good. So wait, Caitlin Clark had Chrissy Sides, who never let her. Okay, now she's got Stephanie White, who wants to do off ball. Oh, okay, and now Sandy Brondello's like, wait, oh, I could show Caitlin what she's been missing this whole entire. I can set up an offense like, oh, here comes recruitment year of 2028.
By the end of round 1, her starting 5 looked like a super team someone would build in a salary cap off video game franchise. ESPN's scrolling tickers struggled to keep pace with the fireworks, and commentators started joking that Clark ought to wear a general manager's badge next to her jersey patch. The vibe was playful, chaotic, and undeniably electric. Somewhere amid the laughter, viewers started wondering, what's her end game? Clark's mischievous grin held a secret. The real bomb was still 12 minutes away. The countdown clock for trades flashed on screen, a harmless tradition usually reserved for swapping mid-tier reserves. Andrews lobbed a softball. Captains? Any last-minute deals? Collier shook her head. Clark leaned in.
I don't know what's gotten into Caitlin Clark. You are leaning into this bad guy role. I love it. I don't know what's gotten into you, Caitlin Clark, but you've been on some I don't give a F lately. I love it. Oh my God, I cannot believe she just eviscerated and embarrassed Cheryl Reeve on national TV like that. They said, hey, would you like to make a player trade? It's better yet, I'll do you one better. Get this fucking coach up out of here. Hey, Caitlin Clark ain't playing, bro.
Yeah, I've got one. She let the silence stretch just long enough for 1.6 million home viewers to edge closer to their screens. We're trading coaches. Gas ricocheted through the arena. Production staff scrambled. The lower third graphic switched to bright red trade alert lettering. No stammer, no hesitation. Clark shipped Cheryl Reeve, Minnesota Lynx icon, and Team USA boss to Team Collier and pulled Sandy Brondello onto her sideline. Andrews' open mic caught someone whispering, "Wait, is that legal?" Collier recovered quickly, flashed a wolfish smile, and quipped, "That's just more chemistry for us. Bad move, Caitlin." Fans were already screen recording the entire exchange.
Yo, this is the first time I've ever seen this, man. The first time out of all the times I've seen where two star players are picking up players. They ask for a trade, or the median person asks for a trade, and they're talking about trading the coach.
Within 60 seconds, the clip ruled every corner of sports social media. Online mayhem erupted. Hashtag free smoke, hashtag Clark control, and hashtag coach trade climbed into X's worldwide top 5. The WNBA's own account posted a cautious before racing to the bylaws. Spoiler, no rule prohibited swapping coaches because nobody had ever imagined a player would try. Clark had just discovered and exploited a loophole the size of a half-court logo. To understand why Clark detonated the trade, rewind to May 3rd, 2024.
Of course, Reeve is Collier's head coach for the Minnesota Lynx, so that makes sense. But the drama is going to come from Reeve having previously been critical on social media about the amount of attention Clark received relative to the rest of the league, not to mention being the coach of Team USA that Caitlin Clark was so famously snubbed from.
The WNBA's official X handle hyped Clark's preseason debut, and Cheryl Reeve subtweeted the promo with 2 dagger hashtags. Hashtag 12 teams and hashtag the W.UI's more than one player. Screenshots flew. Fans accused the 4-time champ of downplaying the rookie's popularity to protect veteran narratives. When a commenter complained that they only care about Caitlin, Reeve replied, "That part," then abruptly set her account to private amid the backlash. USA Basketball declined to address the tweets. Reporters demanded clarity, and Reeve fell silent. The receipts, however, lived on, etched into every Reddit thread, dissecting WNBA culture wars.
Caitlin Clark was supposed to be coached by Minnesota Lynx head coach Cheryl Reeve. Napheesa Collier was supposed to be coached by New York Liberty head coach Sandy Brondello. They swapped coaches. Cheryl Reeve, dodged the bullet. Thank God I don't need to coach Caitlin Clark, man. Man, I can't deal with that. I would have had to swallow so much pride, I can't do that. Fee, she probably called in the Fee, talk to Caitlin, please. I can't coach her, I can't do it. This book's about to come out. You know what they're going to be saying if I'm coaching Caitlin Clark and the book's out? Oh, God. Fee, please.
1 month later, USA Basketball unveiled its 12-woman roster for Paris without Clark's name. Fans and sponsors revolted, but Reeve again dodged the blast radius, insisting selections were basketball decisions. To Clark, loyalists, the snub felt personal, especially with Reeve's hashtag still fresh. That chip lodged deep into Clark's psyche, fuel for every logo 3 and countrywide sellout streak that followed. Clark never publicly slammed Reeve. Instead, she demolished box scores, shattered attendance records, and piled endorsement cash high enough to triple Indiana's merchandise revenue. By July 2025, her on-court resume read like a cheat code, and her patience for subtle slights had run out. The coach trade wasn't spontaneous revenge, it was the culmination of 14 months of silent scorekeeping. Sandy Brondello is everything Reeve isn't in the public mind. Player first, pace and space, offense obsessed. She just guided the Liberty to their first championship behind a 5-out system, so modern analysts nicknamed it Thunder and Light. Her locker room reputation: empower stars, simplify reads, let talent cook. When her teenage son texted, "Mom, you got traded," Brondello laughed out loud, telling reporters the next morning, "It's awesome history." She couldn't wait to diagram plays for Clark, Wilson, and Ionescu on the same floor. "Who wouldn't want that canvas?" she quipped, punctuating the quote with a wink that instantly became GIF gold. Systemically, she is Clark's perfect match. High horn sets that spring dual guards, 5-out spacing that bottles rim protectors on islands, and switching schemes that hide small wings without slowing tempo. Translation: the exact playbook needed to weaponize Clark's gravity and Wilson's interior wrecking ball. No wonder the rookie treated Brondello like the Knights' true #1 draft pick. Clark's starting 5 could headline an Olympic gold medal run. At point, she orchestrates with 30-foot range and league-leading assists. Ionescu slides to shooting guard, giving the lineup double playmaking and 45% three-point sniping. On the wings, Satu Sabali, 6'4" of Eurostep unpredictability, creates downhill chaos, while Wilson and Boston form a front court wall few can breach. It is equal parts skill, size, and swagger. Bench depth turns the roster into a Swiss Army knife. Kelsey Mitchell provides microwave scoring. Jackie Young brings finals-tested calm. Gabby Williams unlocks defensive havoc. 19-year-old Sonia Citron adds fearless shooting. Rookie Kiki Iriafin supplies pogo stick energy. Kayla Thornton injects veteran grit. Clark didn't simply collect all-stars, she filled every tactical niche like a shrewd GM. Notice the loyalty loop. Boston and Mitchell, Clark's Fever co-stars, were her first picks in their respective rounds. In a league where superstars often bolt for glamour markets, Clark's ride-or-die gesture echoed through every locker room. The same loyalty, inverted, showed Reeve the exit. TikTok flooded with edits splicing Clark's calm trade line over Thanos' snap. Ex-users dubbed her Commissioner Caitlin, while memes of Brondello arriving by private jet trended under hashtag Coach Transfer Portal. Even ESPN's own accounts pivoted from highlight reels to reaction compilations. Because the internet couldn't look away from the audacity, reporters rang the league office for clarification. Is a coach trade permissible during an all-star draft? Crickets. By dawn, insiders quietly confirmed that the bylaws never anticipated coaching swaps, only player movement. Clark had identified and exploited a loophole the size of midcourt, proving live on national TV that athlete creativity can outrun any static rule set. Collier, ever the competitor, leaned into the role of foil. She reposted fan art depicting herself and Reeve cooking up revenge plays and teased that Clark's star-heavy lineup might implode without chemistry. It was playful trash talk, but it reframed July 19th as more than an exhibition. It became a referendum on where real power resides. Now let's talk dollars. Every All-Star, Clark included, will earn a little more than $2.5K bonus for suiting up. The MVP pockets an extra $5,150. Compare that to NBA counterparts netting up to $125K for the same weekend, and the gap moves from embarrassing to galvanizing. Players Union President Nneka Ogwumike calls the figure symbolic at best, insulting at worst, warning that without meaningful revenue sharing, the stars are prepared to shut the whole thing down. The current CBA expires October 31st, 2025, and union negotiators know the All-Star Spotlight doubles as a negotiation showcase. Remember, the union already exercised its opt-out clause last fall, launching a 12-month countdown toward either a new transformational deal or a work stoppage. Salaries, charter flights, and postseason revenue share sit atop the agenda, but Clark's 20,000-seat sellouts and viral coach swap provide the most visceral bargaining chip yet. Proof that star personas print money. League insiders whisper that if Team Clark dismantles Collier and Reeve on July 19th, the union will walk into October talks armed with highlight reels and Nielsen data that scream "pay us what we generate." Front office execs concede, off record, that the rookie's 1-minute stunt may cost ownership millions if it tips public sentiment toward the player's side. Indianapolis hasn't buzzed like this since Super Bowl Quaison Speed. Secondary market tickets topped $1,200. ABC moved its pre-game desk to Monument Circle, and city officials expect 35,000 fans at a free outdoor block party. Gainbridge Fieldhouse banners number 22 so large they're visible from I-70, and merch companies can't keep replica jerseys in stock. On court, the matchups drip with narrative juice. Wilson versus Stewart in a 3 MVP grudge, Boston banging against Ogwumike, and, maybe most combustible, Clark lobbing logo bombs while Paige Buechers counters off Collier's bench. Then there's the sideline subplot, Reeve, clipboard clenched, scheming traps for the superstar she once viewed as hype, Brondello plotting a 3-point barrage that could rewrite all-star scoring records. Networks predict the contest could eclipse 10 million US viewers, a threshold previously reserved for NBA Finals and NFL wildcards. If that happens, the league's valuation skyrockets, advertisers open new checkbooks, and Clark's status as a billion-dollar catalyst becomes irrefutable. More importantly, it will prove that authentic drama, not manufactured slogans, sells women's sports to the masses. When Caitlin Clark calmly admitted she didn't care about the rulebook, she redrew the invisible lines that formerly fenced in player power. In a single audacious gesture, she silenced a critic, empowered a mentor, and turned a midsummer showcase into the hottest storyline in pro hoops. Fans cheered, executives took notes, and fellow athletes realized the ceiling on agency had just been blasted open. So July 19th will deliver a scoreboard winner. But the deeper verdict concerns ownership of the sport's future. Does Team Clark steamroll the field and usher in a player-led renaissance? Or does Reeve's old guard grit author one last chapter for the establishment? Drop your prediction below, and remember, in today's WNBA, the next seismic shift is never more than one fearless mic drop away.